Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this Zoom meeting or Zoom event on wingwave coaching introduction. I'm glad to have you on board. I'm glad you were able to make this, and I know we will have a lot of fun. And I would like to quickly tell a bit about myself, how I know wingwave. First of all, a long time ago, I had a car accident and I had an EMDR treatment that helped me a lot personally. I always wanted to learn EMDR, and something that cannot be learned here or trained here in America, in USA, when you're not a therapist. So I was not able to participate or to take that training. I've learned about wingwave recently, a few years ago, in Germany. There's something that is extremely well known there, not so much over here, and I would like to change this because it is very, very effective, a very effective short-term coaching add-on for all trainers, coaches, NLP trainers. It's an additional module, basically, very effective. And I'm so glad today to have some very experienced people on board. Cora Besser-Siegmund, who is actually the co-founder, diploma psychologist, developed this one in 2001. She is here. I don't see her at the moment at the screen, but I should know she is around. Her daughter Lola Siegmund, and then Caroline Rushford, who's very experienced in England. She's doing the trainings in England. So welcome everyone. And I would like to actually pass this on right away to Cora. Cora, if you're there, please step in. Where's Cora?
Ah, she's talking, but there's no sound. What's happened?
Your microphone, Cora, something happened.
Is she still on mute?
No.
No, that's weird, isn't it? Because she was fine earlier.
I did her call.
Did you change something, Cora?
Okay, well, while they sort that out, shall I I'll introduce myself, and then Lola can introduce. Yeah. So yeah, I'm Caroline, and I'm the trainer of the UK. I've been training in I've been a coach of wingwave since 2012, and it really changed my life. That's the reason that I actually trained in coaching, in wingwave coaching, through the chocolate coaching, which you might have seen on the videos of Cora, and it is just the most amazing technique. I've seen some profound and life-changing shifts in clients using wingwave, and I use it as my primary change tool, and also now obviously training coaches and therapists in the UK. So yeah, so really good to be here and happy to answer any questions. And I think at the end we're going to just talk about training dates and how we do all that, aren't we?
Yes. No.
So.
Okay, Cora, now you have to unmute yourself. This is fun. This is live event.
I'll unmute. There you go.
Unmute her. I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Cora?
Oh no, it's not working.
Maybe I will introduce myself quickly.
Yes.
Because I look a little bit like Cora actually, because I'm a relative. In fact, I'm her daughter, and we work together in the Besser-Siegmund Institute that is based in Hamburg. And the Besser-Siegmund Institute just is nearly 35 years old. So we have quite a lot of experience in training and coaching. And I personally study business psychology, and I'm also doing wingwave trainings and coaching in our company. And at the moment, I'm very interested in coaching children because we just wrote a book about wingwave coaching for children and youngsters, and we invented these little guys, which are called Wing and Wave. And they're produced by a really nice company. It's called Kersa, and I'm quite happy about that because it fits really well to the book we just published about wingwave coaching for youngsters and children. And we also did a lot of research about coaching for children and young people, and have some really nice exercise and coaching approaches to work with this age, and that's a lot of fun. And when Cora explains her part and explains me more about the wingwave coaching method, I think you will understand why we really like these little figures to work with children, because you can move their eyes by looking at them. So I hand over to Cora.
Okay, let's try. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, I'm very happy. So hello to everybody. Now I'm very happy that I can talk to you now. So my name is Cora, you heard it already. And together with Marie, we developed the wingwave method in 2001. But before, we have been psychologists already for over 20 years. We made our diploma in psychology in the 80s. And then we had a really very complex job to do. We had to work with pain patients, with people who suffer from chronic pain. And we couldn't help them with the normal psychology methods because they take too long to help these people. They are not patient enough to wait half a year or 1 year until something could help them. And so we became experts and fans of short-term psychology methods. We learned neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, and in the 90s we also made our training and examination in EMDR. Christiane, you already told about this method, eye movement sensitization and reprocessing. Lola already gave a little demonstration. The therapist or the coach helps the client or the coachee or the patient to move the eyes with the help of the wave of the fingers or of the hand. Because Harry and me knew a lot of other therapy methods, we were so surprised how quickly EMDR can help people to overcome traumatic stress disorder. And so we had the idea to say, why do we only use EMDR for people who suffer from clinical problems? The method is so effective that we want to bring it into the life of everybody who wants to reach goals, who wants to enhance the subjective quality of life, like sportsmen, like people, like business people who want to be successful by communicating with other people. And so we put some little elements together. We made a combination of this eye movement with another thing, which is called the myostatic test. It is a muscle test which helps us to find out on the point where a stress trigger is really disturbing the potentials and the well-being of a person. And that made it possible that for isolated blockades, like for example, examine phobia of examine, or phobia of flying, or phobia of presenting in front of an audience, that our researchers show that you only need 2 to 3 sessions, which last about 1 hour, to help people to overcome these stress problems. And if you like, I would give you a little presentation which could be informative for you. You know, okay, wingwave, we have a slogan, achieving success, resolving blocks, attaining peak performance. And we also call wingwave limbic coaching or emotional coaching, because when we want to work successfully with a person, the coachees normally have every mental equipment between their ears to reach their goals, but sometimes they have the goal clearly in front of them, but they feel a blockade to reach the goals. So again, before telling you how wingwave is working, I would like to tell you some interesting facts. This is a little fact sheet about wingwave. Wingwave is scientifically founded. We have made, not ourselves, but other scientists made up to 15 studies about wingwave to show that the method is effective. We are very proud because in 2014 we received the coaching award of the Association for Business Psychology in London for wingwave to be an innovative method and to be a well-researched method. We have more than nearly 8,000 wingwave coaches in more than 40 countries. And all these colleagues are working with the same quality when they are offering coachings. We have interesting references. I'm very sorry to show them in German now. It's, for example, Volkswagen, but I think they need coaching now more than ever. But we also have wingwave in banks or in the Olympic work with sportsmen. Okay. We are working with this rapid eye movement. This rapid eye movement is normally something people show when they are sleeping. When they are sleeping, they are dreaming, and while dreaming, people are showing very rapid eye movements. And today, scientists are sure that in this time something is working, which you call the adaptive information system. Because normally, people, you and me, other people you know, are able to overcome emotional stress situations by themselves. And there's also a speech which is saying, sleep one night, then you will be over it. And in most of the cases, this is true. And with wingwave, we help people if this information adaptive system does not work by itself and doesn't have a flow by itself. And so we offer the brain the REM phase during the day. Normally during the day, people don't move their eyes like this. They would not find their way home, and it looks a little bit crazy. But we have the idea that during the day, we give the brain a little exercise with this artificially initiated REM phases to find back the way to the natural flow of processing informations properly. Oh, again, looks like this. Here I show you some results of wingwave coaching. In Germany, wingwave, or in Europe, wingwave is quite popular for sportsmen. This is Christina Schwanitz. She was a world champion in 2015 with a shot pulp, and she is telling in talk shows and in her book that wingwave coaching helped her to reach this goal. Another interesting coach thing is Mark Zimmermann. He is a German champion in skydiving, and he used wingwave coaching to get this title. Maybe it's interesting for you to know that Mark is wingwave coach himself, and he is coaching other skydivers while they are flying in the air. He comes close to them, holds them at the hand, and makes this with them while they are falling down. And he says it's a wonderful possibility to help skydivers to be in a good state while performing in this sport. What do we have else? This is Mark. This is Susanna. She's a dentist, and she uses wingwave while the treatments when people suffer from dentist phobia. So you can see that wingwave is used in many fields which are not typical fields for clinical problems. And so we say wingwave is a coaching method. It is not a therapy method, it is a coaching method. Well researched, proved since over 20 years, well known for sportsmen, pupils, students, musicians, for example. I would like to tell you something about the test, which is different to EMDR, because in EMDR the coaches don't use this test, and that's why with EMDR you're not able to find out the trigger which is responsible for a blockade, or maybe you use a little bit more time to find it. Does anybody have a question, or should I give another example of a person, of a musician, a pianist, piano player who suffered from a blackout problem when he saw his audience? Should I continue with this example? Okay. So that gives you an idea why this neostatic test is so important. First of all, I would like to show you how this works so that you understand what we are doing. We are pulling at the thumb and at the big finger of the hand, and the coachee has to hold very strongly while we are making this. And when the test turns out to be weak, then we know that something we confronted the person with, could be a word or even a picture, that this is a stress problem for the person. When this test is strong, we know we can we know that the person can cope with something which we present into the person, and then we don't have to coach the situation. Sometimes people are asking the wingwave coach, when he or she uses this technique, doesn't the person or the coach pull stronger or weaker, and that maybe the results of the test are not so reliable? And to understand if it is like that or not, the German university, Sport University of Cologne, they developed this machine for us, and you can see here on the right side, there are the persons in the studies that they put their fingers in, and then you can be sure that the machine is always pulling with the same power. And when you compare the results of the machine pulling with the results of the pulling between a person and another person, we can tell you this, the results are very similar. So you can dare to test without a machine. Hand in hand is enough. Here is Marco. Marco is psychologist, and he wrote his promotion work about wingwave at the Sport University of Cologne. Okay, now I want to tell you about the piano player. And this is a really nice case to understand how wingwave is always working on the point. This piano player was a very good one, and he could give concerts, but there was a concert, he was a little bit nervous, but he was always a little bit nervous. He thought that was normal. But in this certain concert, suddenly he had a blackout, and he really felt bad, and his heart was bumping, and he was sweating, and he was afraid that he has to stop the concert, and he didn't know why, what happened to him, because the people were nice, the audience loves him, and he didn't understand what went wrong with him. I used the test with him, and when you are using the test, the wingwave coach is going through every trigger which could come into the mind of a person during the situation when the person is performing. And I told him, or I gave him the word audience, but the test was strong. So the wingwave coach knows you don't have to coach something which has to do with the audience. The audience can look like this, or your audience can sleep, or doesn't matter. That was not the stress problem. So what can you do else? You can make the test with a music instrument, and I tested the word piano, but the test was strong. And then we continued, and I tested the word track or melody he was playing, and then the test was open. So it had something to do with the music he was playing to the audience. And I asked him to bring his notes with him. We opened the book with the notes inside, and we went through his program of tracks he was playing, and there was one where the test was weak. And then we went over all the notes, and suddenly the test was weak again. And on in this part, there was the word fortissimo. Fortissimo means you have to play very loudly, very loudly, fortissimo. And that was a stress trigger for him. And what we found out with the test is that that person, when the person was a child, he had a brother, and the family lived in a little flat. And the father had a job where he has sometimes to work at night. And during the day, he had to recover or to sleep again, to be fit enough to go back to work in the evening. And my client and his brother, they were always a little bit wild, and like children always do. When the weather was bad, they stayed in the flat and they played together. But for the father, it was too loud. And also the mother was shouting with the children, telling them, don't play so loudly. And he always heard that in his childhood, and he had a stress, and he was afraid that he could have another conflict with his father or with his mother. So when he saw the word fortissimo, you have to play really, really with loud noises, his unconscious mind made a flashback into the flat where you have to be silent when you are playing. And when we solved this problem, the blackout problem was gone. So this is a really nice little case study to show you why we are using this test when we are working with our clients. Okay, Christiane, you're the host. Do you
Yes, I'm muting.
have some more ideas?
Yeah, I do actually would like to ask you, this is a question here too, if you could demonstrate that with that. I don't know if Lola is able to join you there also to just demonstrate that, what this typical session would maybe look like. So that will be maybe down the line, but just an idea, that the question that came up here, to see more in detail how that would look like, the one-on-one session. So then we have the question, what's the benefits for a therapist or so on to learn about this technique? How does it enhance the work of someone who's professionally helping people, whether it's a therapist or coach or trainer, whoever is doing this? I think from my own experience, because the myostatic test is something that's special, I haven't seen it anywhere else, and that helps us to pinpoint the stress factor. Or on the other hand, we've done this also with resources, right? To find something that even enables someone to strengthen.
I was just going to say, I wonder if it would be really helpful to just talk about how when the body's strong and weak. Would that be okay? You know, so do people understand why the test does that? Yeah?
Yes, Caroline. Can you do it?
Yeah, happy to. Well, I mean, I always say to people that the O-ring test is like a compass, and it's just, you know, Cora's words. But really what happens is when we're thinking happy and we're feeling optimistic and we're feeling in a good mood, our body's always in a strong state pretty much. So when in athletic sports people are preparing to win a trophy or to get to the finishing line and win a race, a coach will encourage the athlete to see themselves winning, to have, you know, get that strength and energy in their body. And that's when, you know, when you think of something good, you generally have a good kind of strong physique and a strong body. But when we think about something weak, or we think about something that stresses us out, or we think of a person we don't like, or smell a food we don't like, there's a weakness in the body. The body there's just something that happens in our physiology where the body just goes weaker. So I always think when someone is clumsy or is falling over, that generally if ever I have a clumsy moment, I always think, oh, what was I thinking about just as that happened? Because generally, you know, the body's in a weak state. So that's why the O-ring test is so powerful, because it takes a client really into the root of where we need to go. And what I found through my training is, instead of sitting in front of a client and allowing them to talk for an hour, which has its place, why not use a muscle test where you can say particular words and phrases that then take you to that place where that stress memory is. And that's what I love about, you know, using the O-ring test and using that, because it just makes things so much more quicker. Because a client can ruminate for a long time thinking that they know why they are worried about something, but actually through the muscle test we're able to navigate into it being not necessarily to do with that. So with the musician example, it might have been that that musician thought it was stage fright and that he was just scared to go on stage. But actually, when you go into it, and Cora went into the wording and tested other areas, the environment, the people, the audience, we can see that it was it was that word, and it was that particular flashback that that musician was having. So I think it's great. That's what I love about it. So I hope that makes sense.
Okay, and another thing is sometimes when you're making therapy, then you have, it takes some time. But maybe somebody's coming to you. I give you an example. There was a client of mine, he made a phone call and he said, I just got a message, somebody asked me to take part in a talk show, but the talk show will be, that was Monday, and he was invited for Friday. And if you have a challenge like that, then wingwave is the best method, because you need 2 or 3 sessions, like I described with my piano player, to help the person to cope with the situation on Friday, when on Monday he knows that he has to perform within only 5 days. And everywhere in the world, life is running faster and faster and faster. And our children, our students have to make exams, and maybe only 10 days before they have to go to the exam, and they realize that they have a blockade. And then you have a really nice instrument to help on the point, to help in the situation. And you can also go with people into situations themselves. Maybe I had another client and she had a problem with shopping. You may not believe it. It was not a problem that she didn't know how to go shopping, but when she went shopping, she bought too much. And I accompanied her to all the shops, and we looked on this the sales shields, and I could show her that when she wanted to take maybe a t-shirt, and I said to her, give the t-shirt back, you already have 10 t-shirts, then she was suddenly weak. So no wonder that she was shopping and shopping and shopping, because she felt weak when she couldn't grab these things. And that was a coaching which lasted only 2 hours. And I could help the lady that, of course, shopping is a nice thing, and shopping bags is quite natural. But when people are always disappointed about themselves, that they say, oh, I lost control, then they have a nice moment for maybe 1 hour, and later they have a bad feeling. Why did I do this again? And so you can really work on the point. And sometimes when you make a therapy, the setting is sometimes not allowing to help within 2 or 3 days maybe. And when you compare, when you can see at the researches that we also for coaching pupil, for coaching children, we needed only 3 coaching hours to help them to overcome fear of examen, to like their was heißt das? Lola, erzählst du mal die Fächer, so Mathematik und so? Children coaching.
Yeah, we also work with different topics pupils have at school. And what was really interesting with wingwave, we also made long-term studies, which I think is really important. So we also asked the pupils to tell us, or to make the test we provided in each setting 3 months and 6 months later. And the results showed that not only the fear went lower, but also the happiness and the joy of doing schoolwork went up. And that's, I think a really nice result, because the motivation even gets higher after having had wingwave coaching, which was also more effective. We compared having 3 sessions of wingwave coaching and having Nachhilfe, homeschooling, like someone who's sitting with you and learning at home all the things, all the topic. And we had better results, because what we change is the emotional climate you have when you're thinking about a subject. So what we found is that it can sometimes be really surprising what people individually react on with stress and a high arousal. So it can be when I have the pupils in my coaching, I always ask them to bring their bag, their school bag with them. And sometimes the pupil, the children don't, and also the grown-ups don't even know why they have this stress. So the parents tell me, oh, they haven't been to school for 3 or 4 weeks, and my child is just too scared to go there. And then you ask the child, what's wrong? Why don't you go there? And they say, I don't know. It's just that I get, it's like a panic attack. My heart is beating, I'm sweating. I just can't enter. And sometimes the result is that it's just a little stress trigger that makes the arousal so high. So it can be only one pupil that is sitting next to them and that they have a stress with, and you can lower the stress levels so they can sit there again. Or it can be only, if you look at the school bag, one little book out of the whole bag that is, for example, about mathematics. So it's not the whole school, it's not all the subjects. You can find out, okay, it's mathematics actually. And then you can go further on. You can say it's mathematics in the present, in the past, or in the future. And in many cases, you will find that the problem started in the past. You can even say it was with 6 years old. So you can travel in time, always tell the people. And it might be that with in the first grade, they had a teacher, and the teacher always looked really mean to them. And that's where it all started. And when you work with that initial case, or that initial experience, the whole topic will solve up suddenly. And that's a really nice thing, in my opinion. And maybe one more interesting case with a child who started wetting the clothes again with 7 years. So that's not very nice for the child, and not very nice for the parents, because the child was already able to go to the toilet. And they also didn't know why this is, because the parents were really lovely parents, very caring, very understanding, but the child didn't know why. And we found out that in the kindergarten, the child had a really bad experience with another child who always used to open the doors of the toilets and surprise the child so much, so it wouldn't want to go to the toilet anymore. And when we solved that, it was the symptom wasn't there anymore. So this doesn't mean that we always have the goal to only coach people for 3 to 5 coaching sessions. That's what we always talk about, because we made all our research and with that amount of time. Also for spider phobia, fear of speaking in public. But we also have clients who come for more time. And what Caroline said, the talking part, of course, finds its place in our coaching. And it can be that a problem has many different layers. So we imagine it like there's a layer from outside. I don't know if you know these puppets from Russia, these Madrushka puppets, yeah? So it can be that you're working with the outer layer and that holds strong, and that might already be sufficient. Oh, thank you, Cora. This might already be sufficient to go to school again, yes? But with the test, you can go deeper and deeper, and then you can change things on the identity level, on the behavior level, and then you work until the whole Madrushka puppet is healthy again, psychologically healthy again. Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy to tell you that Mario is still here, our colleague, because Mario listened to the meeting, and there was a question if he can show how the test is working. And Mario is so nice to be my client, and I will show you how it is working. Now he is making the test, and I try to find out how strong Mario is in this evening. For us it's evening now, and he holds strongly and I'm pulling, and he's really, really strong. And now I make it with the next combination and with the next combination, and everything is okay. And now I ask you, Mario, please to say a sentence. The pizza is too hot to fly.
The pizza is too hot to fly.
Again?
The pizza is too hot to fly.
Okay, so the pizza is too hot to eat.
The pizza is too hot to eat.
Please say the mouse is eating elephants.
The mouse is eating elephants.
The mouse is eating cheese.
The mouse is eating cheese.
Mm-hmm. So we make a little bit of nonsense, but what we are making is that we have new linguistic pattern disturbance. This is the word for this, a big word. And no, please don't run away. And when you make EEG measurement, brain waves, you can see that the graphic is showing waves like alpha waves or beta waves or theta waves, but when the disturbance of the neuro-linguistic pattern is coming, the graph is making this. We can measure in the brain that there's a difference in tension when you are giving these nonsense words, and then you know your little compass is okay, you can use it. We call this calibrating phase, and when the calibrating phase is over, then you can make a test with a person about certain triggers which may be the source of stress situation. And then you can find these triggers on the point, and you only work with these triggers which are really the problem, and you don't have to work with other things which may be a problem, but the test shows you if the person can cope with the problem. And when the person can cope with the problem, in coaching we are not solving these problems at first. We are going at first to the topics where the person cannot cope with the problem. And I make a little test. I know Mario has a passion or a hobby. He's a diver, yes?
Yes.
No? So please say, I am a diver.
I'm a diver.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you see, he's really, really strong, no? And Mario, when you are diving, it is, what do you enjoy more, good or bad weather?
Good weather.
Good weather?
Yeah.
Because underwater, yes? Please tell us why.
I think they can't hear me because you have the
Okay.
We can hear you well. We can hear you well, Mario.
Don't try that because...
okay, you can hear Mario?
Yeah,
okay, maybe. Wonderful.
Because the view underwater is better when the weather is good.
The view is much better, okay? No? Please, Mario, have a look out of the window. What do you see there? He must tell you that outside we have a really cloudy sky and we have really dark clouds, and when I tell Mario to look into the dark clouds, bad weather, it's different, huh?
Yeah, it's not the best weather of life.
Yeah. Okay, please have a look at our friend at the on the Madrushka. So look outside, look at her. So you can easily and very quickly find out where the stress is, and then you can work with that. And please look at the dark clouds. They're really dark. They're really dark. So that makes you mental stress. Yes. No? That makes you sad. No. That makes you helpless. Nothing. Nobody can do something against the weather. No. It's no sadness, no helplessness. Makes you angry. Yeah. You do. You're very angry that it's clouds outside. So, and where do you feel it in your body that you feel stress about the bad weather? Yes. Here. You feel this? Look at my fingers. In and out. So you're angry. Angry. Yes, that just makes you really angry. So look at these clouds. And please say the situation is okay now.
The situation is okay now.
Again.
The situation is okay now.
No. So, and this is the big advantage of the test, because in coaching and also in therapy, in most of the times we have really nice clients and we ask them, did we help you, or could I help you, or was the intervention good for you? And what do they say? Yes. And then the person goes home, and but there is maybe a little thing we could have done more to help the person to completely to cope with the situation. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Okay. No? There's a problem with the clouds? No. There's a problem with being angry? Yes. And things are running differently? You don't like this at all. No. This is a problem in present tense. This is a problem in past tense. We are allowed to continue. This is also nice when you have the test, because I know here is an audience. Mario does know people, and then you can also make the test whether a setting is safe for a person or not. But it is safe, and I'm allowed to continue. So being angry in adulthood, being angry in childhood, age 0 to 10, 0 to 15, as 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Being angry that something didn't run like you wished it.
No idea.
No idea?
No. Okay.
It was family. It was school. It was free time. What did you do in your free time?
Maybe the first think about is tennis.
Hold it. Tennis? No. Another thing?
Swimming.
Swimming. Ah, it's to do with water. Huh?
Mm.
So, was it a sport?
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and was there a situation where something went different from in comparison with your wishes?
I remember I want to do my swimming degree.
Yes.
And I prepared everything, and I think there was a storm coming, and I couldn't do it.
There was a storm coming,
yeah,
and you couldn't get your degree.
Yeah.
So think at this bad day. You wanted to have your degree, and storm was coming, and the situation had to stop. So, and where do you feel your body where that was not very nice for you? Yeah. This silly storm. Okay, there came a storm, and you couldn't get your degree, but it's over now, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, some years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at the weather. Okay. So please say, I can cope with bad weather.
I can cope with bad weather.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes, and this could also maybe be a coaching with sportsmen. Sportsmen always have a problem with weather, you know, when they have to perform outside. Football player, handball player. Yes, it's a difference if you're playing in the hall or outside. And so that could be really helpful also to test weather conditions for sportsmen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for showing us. And there was another question regarding therapy and coaching in between here. And I would like to emphasize that this is a coaching tool. It's an add-on tool, even though we're going in the past with this. But it's really for people who are otherwise functioning well and they want to move forward. And this is just something they're not sure why they're blocked or why they're holding something back or whatever is happening that they're not aware of consciously. This is a great tool to find the unconscious, whatever that stressor is or that factor. That's the important part, I think, to emphasize in this.
Yes.
There is a question by Esther asking if we can do wingwave online. I think the demonstration has kind of shown that it is best to be done in person because of the myostatic test. So I think that answered that question. I also would like to emphasize maybe regarding the coaching part, because the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, is kind of big here in America for coaches, and that they have given you, I know you've been in contact with them, they have accredited your coaching training with the CCE points. So definitely it has been accredited, your coaching, by the ICF.
Maybe I say something concerning online coaching, Christiane. Yeah. You can make online coaching with wingwave. When you are, this is a book about wingwave. Maybe if you go back to it later. But we have the wingwave app. And on the wingwave app, you find some wingwave tracks, wingwave music. And the composer made the music like that the beat is altering between the ears. You have to listen to the music with earphones, and then you have similar effect. And we are working with this similar effect when we make online coaching with wingwave. But the efficiency is more, or the coaching went faster when we can make the test with the person and go in contact with the body. I think this is a thing we have to discuss about now in these Corona times, but we have found some settings here in Germany to work with a wall where you can put your fingers through, like in the nail studio. So we also can then be on the safe side, we found some settings to make wingwave and with people who are present, and it works well. But we hope that these times will be over next year, and then next year I can tell you, being in touch is a big plus for wingwave coaching.
But we can tell you more about that when we finished our researches about online coaching, because that's what we always do with wingwave, and we always do our research homework, and I think that's really important. And if you're interested in doing the wingwave education, it's always a 4-day seminar, which you can visit only when you already have a certain amount of knowledge about psychology. So that can be an NLP practitioner, or if you're already a therapist, that's really important for us. And when you're then wingwave coach, you can make intensification seminars. So you can learn more about how to coach children with wingwave. You can learn how to do online coaching with children. You can learn about how you can imaginative family constellations. And so it's always, you can always decide in which area you want to profound your knowledge in.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely very versatile technique that can be used in many different areas. And that's what I love about it. It depends how far you really want to go with it, I think, as a coach, but just all areas really. There's a really excellent example in the book, which I've always remembered, about the procrastination of the person who was having wingwave done, and the coach was, I think, I'm not sure who the coach was, but they tested different parts of the desk about, I think they tested some emotional stuff within this person, they tested the environment, and then they tested areas of the desk, and then the O-ring came apart at the keyboard for the typing, and it turned out she didn't like her keyboard. And
Yes.
you know, procrastination is such a common block for people, and also I noticed that also happens with people who have to maybe pick the phone up, and they need to maybe make a sales call, or they have to call someone they don't want to call, and it's not necessarily the picking the phone up that's the problem, it's the person on the other side of the phone and their emotional response. And you can test, you know, the other person picking the phone up and see if that is the problem. So it's just, so you can be so creative with it. That's what I love about it, is you can be really creative with it.
And what I really like about it also is that it's so free of having thoughts about yourself. So you could never write a book about all the cases you have with wingwave, because it's always individual. So what we are always looking for is the individual blockage of each person. So it can, if somebody has stage fright, it can be so many different triggers. Every person has a different life story, different memories, and that's the thing I love about working with this method. It's always a surprise for the coach, and also sometimes for the coachee, what the cause was for the symptom we see. And it makes work also so quick, because we are all also NLP trainers, and that's a big part of the method. And you can just make the process quicker and combine it with all the work you already know. So it's also possible to have a big 6-step format, and then just sometimes add a little bit of wingwave. And that makes me free and makes me very secure about what I'm doing, because I also have the secureness of the test. And it makes it on the point, because you wouldn't work for 2 or 3 hours, for example, at the relation between father and child, if that's not a problem. And that makes it very efficient, and gives a really good feeling, because you see people change and be happy so quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, what I want to show you, because I had a glimpse at the watch. we also, I think it's nearly over now, our time.
Yeah.
I want to recommend to you the book in English language, and I want to show you here that we have our international homepage, wingwave.com, and on this homepage you can find some thousand coaches in several countries who are offering wingwave. And if you are becoming a wingwave coach, you can also be a member of this coach finder. Okay.
There is one question, if we want to answer that one, and this is from Esther. She said regarding surrogation. I'm going to find Esther and I'm going to unmute her. Esther, I'm going to unmute you. If you want to ask that specific question so we can get that answered. Oh,
no problem.
Hello.
Hi. Well, the question was asking relating to the option of doing it online. I completely understand that it makes perfect sense to do it face to face, especially for the test. But I was wondering whether you have ever tried to do any kind of, I don't know if it's the right word in English, surrogation.
Yes.
So you test yourself.
Yes. We wouldn't really recommend that. In terms of wingwave coaching, okay, so if you're interested in doing that, it would be it would be fine, but we wouldn't call it wingwave, because wingwave is also, it's always important for us that it's based on research, and what we are telling and what we are teaching is always based on research we did with universities and things like that. And what we also we work with is mirror neuron stress. So it can be that also when I work with children, you might know that, I think everybody knows it, that it's not only the stress children have, but it's many times the stress the parents have. So that would be mirror neuron stress. So if the child feels the mother has an aggression or is not or is a little bit stressed doing homeschooling, the child will be stressed doing homeschooling too. You know what I mean? And so it's also projection.
Yes. Another thing is what we sometimes do, Esther, is that you could realize that I know Mario very well. When we have a person who came several times to us for present coaching, then we can make an online coaching, and the person is bringing another person with him or her, and then through the screen, we tell the other person how to pull at the fingers, and we call this body coaching, B-U-D-D-Y. This is word you also use, also divers use that. You, a friend or a partner can come with the coachee to the screen, and then we tell the partner how to make the test. This is possible, but we also only do this with clients who are already experienced with wingwave in present life.
And in that case, would you suggest to that person to guide the movement of the eyes, or would you do it through the? Okay.
No, I do it myself. That's something what I'm doing then, because I have a look at the mimic, and if the eyes are in a flow or if they are in a stuck, it's better for the coach to do it him or herself.
Because doing eye movement desensitization is, you can have really quick changes. And it's also important to have a person at the other side that is with your client. I wouldn't do the eye movement processing without having this safety. But
Yes.
what works really well is our wingwave music. We did also lots of research on it, of course. And what we know about that is that it lowers the overall arousal. So that means the pulse is getting lower and the person is in an overall good mood and digests your coaching really well. And that makes it safe. And that's what I would always prefer doing with somebody I don't know yet and who's not used working with me already. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Christiane, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can go probably on and on and on, and also have lots of more examples. I think we're coming to an end here. And I just want to point out that there's more information, of course, on your website, which is in different languages. There's always a way to change the languages on your website, which is the wingwave.com. And people can find out, like you said, there's a coach finder for different countries. There's more information about wingwave.
And the video.
And the video, exactly. There is an explanation video, which is also on YouTube. If someone would like to see it right away on YouTube, you can find it under Wingwave Coaching. And I think I'm really fascinated by this. I'm pretty new to it yet, but already I have achieved a lot of great results helping other people to get unstuck. Very surprising things that people didn't think that was something in the back that ever caused problem. But by finding this, navigating to it, it was easily found and then basically waved away. I always call this one kind of the detector, like a treasure hunting. Instead of having to dig here and there on the ground, you just follow this one and it's like detecting and you find that treasure, whatever it is, and can deal with it right away. So,
can I just also say that on the website is the training dates as well? Obviously, at the moment we're a little bit restricted about when if and when those will happen, but there are trainings in England, in the US coming up, obviously Germany, but all around Europe.
Mm-hmm.
oh, there she's frozen.
I would
like to emphasize that the seminar that we have planned, and hopefully we'll continue to move on with this one in September, that actually Cora and Lola are coming from Germany to teach it, to teach it here in person. So you will have these two people here. And I think what's better to learn from the resource, to learn from the person who developed this. So just look if you can make it for that date here, and hopefully everything will go well so we can do this training. It will be only for 20 people maximum for the most intense training. And it's a 4-day training, and I can highly, highly suggest that and recommend it. Yeah, are we all good? I think there is everything said, and more information on your website, also on my website, which is the mindwellnesscoaching.com. And I'm the organizer for this seminar in September, and I look forward to having you here. If you are interested to learn more, please contact me on that website, via that website. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Christiane, for inviting us. We are looking forward to seeing you again in present life. Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely.
I wish you all
healthy. Bye.
I would wish you good health, and I hope we will see each other, if not in September, October, November, but one day. And please care for yourself and try to be happy as much as you can.
Every little cell.
My body is happy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.